Hi, good morning everyone. My name is Jothral Manatad from BSA 2A. So for today we're gonna tackle about how do we quantify results from scales and checklists. So as you can see here, quantifying results from scales involves converting qualitative or subjective responses like ratings or Likert scales into numerical data that can be analyzed statistically. So what is the use of Likert scales? So Likert scales is used to measure students' favorability and unfavorability toward a certain object. So the favorability will depend on the degree of agreement or disagreement to a standpoint. So next is verbal frequency scales. So this is used to measure how often a habit is done. The item here is measures of a habit. So later I will gonna tell you what example of them. Okay. So the third one is linear numeric scales. So this is used when large array of ratings is provided among the participants within a continuum. So speaking of linear numeric, so it is basically involves numbers. So later you will know what is it. So the extreme points of the scales are provided with a descriptor. So this kind of how to quantify these scales is they provide the kind of descriptions of the numbers. So here we goes for the examples. So the first one is the Likert scale. So first example is the current president of the country implemented the health policy well. Do you agree with it? The choices would be like this: strongly disagree, strongly agree, agree, and disagree. So that is how Likert scales works. And the next one is verbal frequency scales. So speaking of verbal, this is how you do it. I read a book. So you're gonna choose whether it's always, often, sometimes, or rarely, or never. This is what it means to be habitual. And so next is the linear numerical scales. So as we speak about numerical, we will think about numbers, right? So this would be like this: less value and more value. Like less value is like 0 to 5, like that. It goes to be like the teacher is less value and academic coordinator is less value or more value. You choose which of them. So the fourth example of how to quantify scales is semantic differential scales. So this scale is used to describe the object of behavior by making use of two opposite adjectives. So the last one is the graphic scales. So this scales is uses illustrations to represent the degree of presence or absence of the characteristics measured. So this is usually used for respondents such as young children who have limited vocabulary. So for example for that is this. So like pizza. There's a graphic picture of the pizza and you're gonna rate how the following food for you. Like the choices would be excellent, good, great, not good, bad, or very bad. So that is how you use the graphic scales. So the next example is semantic differential scales. So this would be the last example. So for example is my teacher is patience or harsh. Like you're gonna use the two opposite adjectives like what I've discussed about semantic differential scales. So I think that's all. So let's move on to the steps on how to define the scales numerically, collect scores across items, analyze scores, and interpret the results. So this is how you quantify the scales. You can see here the examples. You can see what is it like the statement. So the course was well organized and you're gonna score it like for how many wanna like for qualitative interpretations, would be good, satisfied, neutral, acceptable, excellence or very excellent, good or satisfied, like that, just like that. So for this so for the scoring guide, it would be like this. So the rating would be like as you can see here, 5 4 3 2 1. So lowest to the highest numbers of the range of mean. And if you gonna quantify using descriptive levels, it's gonna be strongly agree, neutral, disagree, and strongly disagree, like that. And then in qualitative interpretation, it will be excellent or very satisfied, or good or satisfied, neutral or acceptable, or poor or unsatisfied. And lastly is very poor or strongly unsatisfied. So this is how scoring rubric works in skills. So that would be all. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something new today. So the next topic will be tackled by Master Daniel Mendiola. I hope you will listen.
How do we quantify result from checklists? So checklists are used for measuring things because they use binary responses. This means there are only two possible answers for every item, such as yes or no, done or not done, present or absent. How to turn checks into numbers? Since there are only two choices, you can easily count the results to get a final score. You can do this in three simple ways. Counting the total. You simply count how many yes or done marks you have. And next is finding the percentage. You divided the numbers of yes marks by the total number of items. Like 80% of the safety steps were followed. And the next is assigning points. You can give 1 point for every yes and 0 points for every no. In this example, we are looking for 5 specific things in a piece of writing: a title, a clear introduction, body paragraphs that support the main idea, correct grammar, and a summary at the end. So the next that we do is giving points. We give points based on whether the students did the task or not. If they did it, they get a check mark and 1 point. If they did not do it, they get an X and 0 points. So in this example, the students got 3 points because they finished 3 tasks but missed 2. So in calculating the score, to find the score, we do a simple math problem. The student got 3 points out of a total of 5. When we multiply by 100, we get a 60% score. Finally, we look at bottom of the table, transmuted grade, which is 75%. So the result is fairly satisfactory, which means the work is okay, but there is still room to make it better. So now, let's proceed to organizing and analyzing the data. After assigning numbers, the result can be summed, averaged, or converted into percentages. The data can be placed in tables or charts to see patterns in students' performance. This process helps teachers make informed decisions about instructions, feedback, and students' progress. That's all. Thank you.